Okay, I think we should thank Cafe Avram. So we met and we decided about the project of Cameroon. So all these people who live in Jerusalem and know Avram, this is the place, the international place. Okay. So as we just heard from Hila that we are talking about rural area of Cameroon, just to show you a little bit of Cameroon and other aspect, you see the rainforest here, which is nice on one hand, but on the other hand, if you think medically, it brings a lot of tropical diseases which are unique for the sub-Saharan Africa, and you don't find it in other places in the world. And people who has to go and work, people who have to go there, they have to be aware of these different type of diseases. So here's the statue that we just heard about, which may be the totem of the Nsor people who finally brought us to Cameroon. Now, as mentioned, I heard in Cafe Abraham about this place, and I told them, I mean, we can't decide anything without seeing the place. So we have to go there, and finally we did it, and we came, and I met first time, I saw the king of Nsor, and you see a very authoritative person. You see the high court of him, very colorful also. I mean, being in Cameroon, it's a very colorful place. And again, you can see him. And later on, we were invited to the palace itself to meet him personally. Now, to be in the palace, there has some kind of manners that you have to follow. You have to wait, and while you're waiting for the king, you can see the pictures on the wall. I hope you can see that one visitor before us was I hope that our future will be much better. And later on, the king himself entered and he sits on the throne, and then conversation can start. Now, you can't talk directly to the king. So this is Relinda, the PhD. She was the translator, and you see she has to talk to her palm, and then only this way you can approach the king. So it takes a long time. Firstly, she has to clap her hand to get the permission to talk, then she starts, then she has to translate. So every meeting will take time only due to all these kind of procedures. But finally, we did it. I think it was also successful in the sense that, you know, even kings sometimes are sick. And he just was discharged from a hospital, and he was very happy to hear there's a white doctor coming from abroad, so he asked me to check him. And I think it was very helpful because later on we got the permission to go to the inner court. Not everybody can go to the inner court here. So you see the line is not line of Judah, this is line of Cameroon. And you see some of the high ministers, I think you saw him before. We had even another very unique privilege. The king is married to, I think, 99 women. And I think that, and this is actually, so the part of the harem that he has. I thought that, you know, probably he collected all the nice girls in this area, but it's not so. I mean, to be king, you inherited the duty, but with the duty, you inherited the ex-wife of the previous kings. So the list of women can be from 15 years old to 105. And actually, this is the place of the mother of this, the head of these women, and she decides which woman will go every night to spend the time with the king. So it's very easy if you want to, you know, to close the dynasty, not to have children, you just have to send the correct lady over there and then it's finished. But that's a little bit of the beginning of the trip. But later on we have to go to the field. Now this is the map of the field. By the way, I tried to get by Google Earth, and there's no way to find it. So I asked one of our person who was there to draw a map, and what you can see, Kumbo, the town that Hila mentioned, is a little bit here to the south, and we're talking about a village. You see it's circled in red, and in the middle of it there is the health center, which you're going to see in a minute. The catchment area will mean how many people can be served by this medical center. It's about in the close vicinity, we are talking about 6,000 people. If it will be successful, maybe around 20,000 people. And again, for them to go to the city, to the town of Kumbo, despite the fact that it's not very long by real distance, but you know, in Africa, you don't measure kilometers, you measure the time. It takes several hours because of the road we just have seen it. This is Maurice, and this is the guy who I think established the NGO, the local NGO, and he's really the one who takes care for the whole building. He himself is a veterinarian, he is from the royal family, and therefore I think he had the right to do it. And he's really the one who do the daily work there, try to get money also from the locals, and we try to support him. Here you can see the field. So this is the village area, and what you can see here is that all the communities here, and I think this is one of the main attractive issues which happened for me being there. Usually when you try to help the community in the third world countries, they looked at you, you are the white, you are the foreigner, you have the money, you have to do the work. We are here to get the support. And in Cameroon, or at least in this area, I find it much different. People try to help, and you can see also, there's all the community here, women and men working together in the field, so there's no any discrimination. The women can work here as they do at home, unfortunately. And you see here, this is the beginning of this building. Now, if you look and try to understand how they do it, so they dig in the mud, and you have here the provisory water pipe, which done by this bamboo shoot, and then they build the blocks, which it's even without, you know, they don't put it in a fire. So you have to build and you have to cover it very quickly, otherwise it's going to melt in the first monsoon. So it's not an easy task, and despite the fact that there's a lot of manpower and local facilities that they use, still it costs money, and therefore the main issue which hold us to continue to run with it is really the lack of money. We need some more financial support for it. So again, here you can see the community working. By the way, they have also some kind of Shabbat. Shabbat means they have a day once a week. Actually, they have even 2 days a week when the rest they are not working in the field. Now, contrary to our Shabbat, where it's a holy day, for them Shabbat means unauspicious day. And therefore, if it's unauspicious, better not to work in your field. So go and do some kind of volunteer work, and that's the day that they are coming to help in this center. So here you see also the architect who came and explained me the construct of the clinic. And you see it was like inauguration situation there. All the people around came, and he is the mayor of this area. Was very happy that we are there. He even gave a nice talk, and the interesting, you are at the end of the world. You see a so rural area, and the spoken language is English. And that's because this part of Cameroon is a very unique country, because it's used to be, part of it used to be German colony, later on it became English colony, and part of it French colony, and then they united together to create the Republic of Cameroon. Now, despite the fact that it's called Republic and they have Prime Minister and President, etc., the locals, they don't know the Prime Minister, they know the local kings. And therefore the role of the king here is so important, and without him, nothing can be done. We have that there's a Muslim community around, and you see here the Qadi who pray for the success of the clinic. I think I was the only one who could understand what he was saying in Arabic from the Quran. And I guess I had to talk also. And here you see the local women, the local choir, that they were so happy, dancing and singing, and unfortunately we didn't find the video clip that we had, so next time. Few pictures here again to see they were so happy to see the support and to feel there's something going on, and again, they're feeling being in a remote area without any help one of the major issues, for example, is deliveries. There's women here, when they have to deliver, they do it at home without any support. If there are any complications, traveling to the next destination, to the next hospital or so-called any kind of clinic takes hours. So it's really a life-threatening situation for many of these women, and that was a major part of the demand of the king to build a health center over there. And we also met, I don't know if you can see, it's not a good picture now, but we find also the shaman, the local shaman, the traditional doctor, and we thought it's a good idea to try to talk to him, maybe even try to incorporate him and to bring him to one of the rooms of this clinic. Here you can see the pharmacy of him, not very attractive for us, but maybe for them it will be at some point might be useful. During the time, I mean, our visit was almost 2 years ago, and you see that walls are erecting, and you see we have pictures from the last 6 months, so it's going on, and again we're looking to cover it with the roof before the monsoon time, and then we hope we can start operate as soon as possible with the, even partly to use the medical facility, even not, I mean, we don't need the whole of them, but we can start with an outpatient clinic with very sophisticated equipment to begin with. You see that here, again, this is the king, if you forgot him, and he also really take it seriously, and he comes once in a while to visit the place to see how we are approaching with the project. We recently, in January, we sent an Israeli guy who had a lot of experience, who was working with us in Haiti. He worked in Nepal as well, and we thought it can be very important to have already a step over there, Israeli guy who knows us, and he see what's going on to try to really understand what are the current needs and try to push them forward. And I think he does a good work. Unfortunately, next month he'll be back in Israel. If you're traveling around, you can see that there are some other local clinics, many of them run by nurses, and you see it's very well organized what they have to do every day. Equipment are not as much, and you see, for example, gloves, which for us it's, you know, disposable glass. They have to wash it and to hang it, to reuse it and reuse it, things that we don't like it so much here. This is, for those who don't understand, this is the life cycle of malaria, and malaria is the major threat in Africa, and I think everybody who goes there should know about malaria. Now, the main point is, I want to conclude with two issues. One is the issue of, let's say, white doctor going to work in the tropic. I mean, many times I got the feeling that people who are excellent doctors here, they can go everywhere, and if they are excellent in Israel, they will be more than excellent in Africa or in other places. And I think it's absolutely not true. There's a lot of challenges that we are facing while working in the tropics, and I want to show you a few aspects. One thing, as you see here, is lack of facilities. Here in the hospital, you used to order, please take blood for this and this. There is no blood. There's no any tubes, or there's no any lab to do it. There's a lot of cross-cultural issues that you have to know before you are going there, which is fit, I think, the day of this conference. Now, we said to our residents, changing your diskette. That means you have to change your brain, because usually doctors think in a fashion they were educated here. But if you go to other places where the diseases are different, when you face a new disease that you never saw, you have to change, and you have to it's really psychologically, it's not an easy task. So this is another important issue to try to train doctors before going there. We have to know that basic public health issues, which here are, we take it for granted. For example, that if you open the tape and you have water coming in, there are clean water here, but you have to be sure, or you have to know that it's opposite when you go to Africa, to take care of mosquitoes, because there are many kinds of mosquito-borne diseases, etc., etc. So you learn to appreciate the importance of the basic public health issues which already been done in the West but are still far away in these countries. And not to forget that if you send somebody there, you have to care for these caregivers, you have to take care of him and to advise him and to follow him, that we want him to go back healthy. Now, the lack of facilities will not go very deeply, but there are no hospitals, drugs are not all the time available. Diagnostic tools, as we mentioned, we have it here everywhere, but there it's actually not exist, etc. Now, there's some cross-cultural issues which it's really here, I want to pinpoint only a few issues. For example, I told you that in Africa, malaria is a major problem. However, we have to remember that everybody who said that he doesn't feel well will tell you, I have malaria. So don't take it as a malaria, as a generic disease, and you have to know that you don't have to treat everybody who has headache as malaria. Or, for example, somebody said, and we see it also among the Ethiopians here, say, I have chest pain, and what he wants to tell you that I am depressed. But here he is going to the cardiology to do catheterization. So you have to be more careful and try to assess it. In some communities, for example, if you want to treat them, you have to remember or to know what they like to be treated with. For example, if you give them oral drugs, it's not good enough. You have to give injection. This is a strong one. And if you don't give it, they will go to the local doctor and get it there, and then maybe they will get HIV together with it. So you have really to know how to approach the community over there. So that's one thing. The second issue is why to go there? I mean, we're in Israel, we are happy in Israel, most of us have been happy in Israel. Why we have to go to other places and to work? What are the purposes of going there? And I gave few aspects in my view. One is that to aid in place which needs the support. I mean, we are really in the Western countries, and we have, despite the whole Kiturim, despite the whole, we still have almost everything that we want besides peace. But in Africa, I think it's a very good example of people who really live without anything. Now that's one thing. The second, which I find it very important, is to understand and to know better tropical diseases. We think these days that, you know, tropical diseases belong to the tropics. We live in the Western countries, so why we should bother with them? But we have to remember that globalization in medicine is much more important, I would say, even more in economic. There are no more borders to diseases, and we have influx of immigrants coming from these places. We have migrant workers, we have travelers going in and out. So we see, even if you yourself, you don't want to go to Africa, the disease of Africa will come to your backyard. And therefore it's important to know, and people who go there and work will come back with some kind of knowledge. The other thing which maybe people here will agree with me is be a physician. I think that what's happening in Western medicine, that the interaction between doctor and patient have changed dramatically. And basically our dream these days, not our, but some of the dreams are that if you have a sick patient, let's send him to emergency room, he will enter a unique machine, kind of, you know, good CT or MRI machine, will go from the other side with the diagnostic list, and then you have algorithm how to treat him. So basically the personal touch between a physician and patient is lost in our society. It has become more and more obvious. Now there's no CT machine. You have to talk to him. There's no any other option to treat besides see him, check him personally, and you know, the touch of the doctor to the physician, I think is very important. So I think again, if we want to have physicians, better to send them over there. And the last issue is that I found it among our volunteers and myself, more than you give. I mean, if you go and work there for 1 month or even for 1 year, you help this amount of people, but you did not change the situation over there. However, for yourself, you get much more an important contribution while being here, while being there. I think you'll come back as a different personality, and therefore I think part of the, let's say, specialization of a doctor should be in these third world countries. And I think I found an interesting statement by Hasidic rabbi, and those who can read Hebrew, you can see, and in English we can say that the purpose of the material needs of my fellow human being are my own spiritual needs. And I found it very true. I mean, they need the material help. For us, is kind of spiritual help. Now, we don't want to stay only with the medical help. We want to have a broader spectrum and to have a community projects over there. And I hope that part of it can be your collaboration. We will not go with time. I think it's too late, so I will not go to details of it. But you can see that this is the team photo, the picture from the last time, and maybe the next picture will include some of the people sitting here around. And by this, I want to thank you.